Hey there viewers, and welcome back to Grumpy Monkey Garage, where we're gonna piss off all the Mopar people again. All right, so this is a 2000 Jeep Grand Cherokee, as we like to call them. And these are the WJ designations for all the Jeep people out there who know or are in the know. I am not in part of Jeep culture whatsoever. I respect Jeeps for what they used to be, and now I will relentlessly mock the Chrysler products that they've become. They're basically a minivan with a fancy body on them. But this was the last, you could argue, of the real, like, non-Wrangler Jeeps that ever came out. I do give it credit for having the 4-liter and the nice transmission without the rear end trouble. We'll get to the transfer case issues later. But let's start talking about the exterior. First of all, if you're gonna buy one of these Jeeps, realize you're buying a Chrysler. I do not care if you, oh, AMC this, AMC, no. AMC made the engine and the transmission. Chrysler made everything else. So if you buy these, it will always run and drive, but everything else will fall apart around it. The mirrors will fall off, the windows will fall down, the body panels don't fit right. Nothing is going to last except the engine and transmission. But these are becoming quite cheap in the marketplace. So it is definitely a worthwhile investment for that engine and transmission combo. They're reliable and they're safe. Now they did the same thing we did in our Toyota review, where they have the bumpers along the doors, these plastic trim pieces, the bonk guards as we'll call them. You know, you open your door into something, donk, and now you didn't dent anything. It's a nice way to do it. This is conventional, so it's rear wheel drive until you put it in 4-wheel drive, then it would be all 4 wheels. I give these Jeeps a little bit of credit for being kind of the luxurious off-roader, the Grand Wagoneer's, you know, grandson who won't get out of the basement at 30 years old. That's definitely this car, but they're a great place to start. This is a great first car. This is a great starting a family car. This is a great, just need A to B living in this apartment until I make, big enough job move to be able to get out of this poverty. That's what these are good for. These are a stepping stone car. Will this last forever? No. Should you keep it forever? Maybe. If you throw enough money at this thing, they'll last forever, but the bodies do not hold up. Let's talk some about the trunk and some more good news. All right, so now we're talking about the trunk of these Jeeps. And it is a trunk. It's not really the hatch or whatever cutesy crossover crap. This is a trunk. I like this trunk. They work. It gets completely out of the way. One of my complaints with Toyotas of this generation is the 4Runners of the mid-90s. You had to turn the key, the window would roll down, you'd open it like a tailgate, and it would get in the way between you and your items. I like when they just get out of the way. The late 90s 4Runners did it, the Pathfinder started to do it, everything gets out of the way. And then you have the RAV4 that just kind of doors, and that was stupid. This is an underappreciated design. They were the first to do this from what I've seen. I guess the Explorer did it as well, but this is one of the first to do it, is probably the best way to put that. And talking about the back end of this Jeep as well, you can lay the seats down, you have a full-size bed in here. If you're starting a landscaping business and you also have kids, or you're, on a budget and can't afford pickup trucks, because in today's pickup truck market, forget about it. You can put a hitch on these Jeeps and they can pull your landscape trailer. And you can put stuff back here. If you laid those seats down, you have plenty of space. These are a great utility vehicle if you use them as such. The 4-wheel drive means you can use them in the winter all the time. I mean, these things really are usable, but they're just not the best. They're the Swiss Army knife. They're good for everything, but everything that they do, something's always better. Is there something faster? Absolutely. Is there something more reliable? Absolutely. For the price point and all the things you can get done with it, it's an excellent car. Talking about options regarding towing, this is the 4-wheel drive with the straight 6, the 4-liter. That's the one you want. And I mean 4-wheel drive, not that quadra drive, all-wheel drive garbage that went bad every 10 minutes. This is real 4-wheel drive. Now the hitch back here, you can tow around 5,000 pounds comfortably. I'm sure the V8 people, which you shouldn't get the V8, Daimler Chrysler's 4.7 V8 is a boat anchor. It is a piece of junk, has tons of problems. Oh, I hear the typing, you Mopar nerd. Mine has 300,000 miles, I've never had a problem. You're lying. You're lying. You're just lying. That's not true. It's not true at all. Normal people, no. 4.7, piece of crap. Anyway, the 4.0, the 6-cylinder, can tow about 5,000 pounds without too much trouble. The brakes are going to wear through sooner. But if you're pulling a landscape trailer, or if you're starting a business, you're going to have a trailer, you're going to serve tacos at events or whatever, this is a great choice for that. It can do all those things without too much trouble. Let's talk about that engine and trans while we look at it. So the 4-liter, as I was saying, is made by AMC. It's a great design, reliable. You're not gonna get good gas mileage, but that's not what you should expect out of the 4-liter. Now, what I am gonna talk about is this is the same Jeep from the radiator replacement video I did so long ago. I mean, years ago I did that video that did so well. And there was tons of people in the comments, oh, it won't last because you didn't do X, Y, and Z, or you didn't just use the Mopar glue on the bolts. Well, here it is, it's still fine. All you naysayers could bite me. All right, under here, everything's simple to do. If you're a DIYer or you're a young person and you want to learn how to work on cars, is this an excellent project? Absolutely. Can you go off-road with it? Yes. Is there aftermarket support? Yes. Is it reliable enough that you're not going to have to worry too much if this is your only vehicle? Absolutely true. Now, things I will complain about. This engine, again, the Chrysler portions of it, the wiring harness is made by Chrysler. And in these years, they did the improved wiring connections with the red tabs, and they're pieces of garbage. You're going to have lots of connection issues. I'm sure they make an update for it. I don't have it. I don't want to put the money into this thing. So this particular Jeep is owned by a family member, and they just don't want to put the money into it because it's now a third vehicle. They drive a work vehicle for work. So now let's talk about the interior. There's really nothing negative to say under the hood. I will say the Quadra Drive, which I'll talk about in the interior as well, how to identify it. The Quadra Drive was junk. You had to replace all 4 tires at once because it's all-wheel drive. People didn't do that. They didn't take care of them. They tore them all to hell. Let's talk about more about that inside the car. All right, so now we're in the interior of the Jeep. You can get them very luxurious. This is the Laredo. They also had the Limited. You can get leather seats in both that I've noticed. I haven't really seen any with like, oh, you couldn't get this option with this. I'm sure some Mopar nut will put it in the comments, just like they did in the Dodge Ram video. You could get sunroofs. I don't recommend the sunroofs. They leak. I don't recommend the leather because it cracks. If you get the base cloth interior with base model everything, you're gonna have less trouble. But this one does have power windows and locks. Naturally, they don't work. It has the leather seats, which are cracked, and it doesn't have the sunroof, which I enjoyed because it doesn't leak because it's not there. So I really enjoy that part. Heated seats were an option. I have not had to replace a heated seat element yet, so maybe Chrysler did that right, or maybe I just live in the South and not many people use heated seats. Everything in here is pretty simple. I really like the layout. I like that they give you these, storage cubbies up here. But the most important thing from the interior, from a mechanic's perspective, is this right here. The Grand Cherokees, I've not seen one with a stick shift. I don't even think they came with them. This lever here on the right is your regular Prindle switch, park, reverse, neutral, drive. And the 2-wheel drive models, yes, they made 2-wheel drive Jeeps, and they're still good. They just can't do the 4-wheel drive stuff, but they do everything else just fine. This little lever here is what you want to look at when you're buying one. This one has 2 4 part-time, 4 full-time, neutral, and 4 low. This is a conventional transfer case. There is a transfer case in the later years of these WJs that had full-time and part-time only, or high and low later. And those are called the Quadra Drive. Quadra Drive is a piece of crap. What it does, it lets the computer decide which wheel to put power to, and the computer's an idiot and can't figure it out. Also, if you have Quadra Drive and you're, lower income, like most of the people who are buying these Jeeps these days, you don't want to have to replace all 4 tires at the same time. With Quadra Drive, you have to, because the bad tires, it then thinks you're slipping, and it will just ruin the motor in the transfer case. See the Car Wizards video complaining about Quadra Drive in a later Jeep Cherokee, and you'll see what I'm talking about more in depth. But basically, if you get the regular old 2-wheel Select-O-Matic down to 4-wheel, this one's gonna last a long time. We have over 200,000 miles and no transfer case problems and no transmission problems. And this Jeep, well, it jumped a pond and broke the front axle. Story for another day, but we ended up putting a front end in this thing, and it's still, it does get used heavily off-road. Hasn't had any problems yet. So I'm impressed with this setup. The Quadra Drive, Quadra junk, don't buy it. All right, so normally I talk about cup holders and interior and stuff. These don't stand out as anything remarkable, and they're not terrible either, so we're just gonna kind of skip over that for time purposes. I would rather spend that time talking about this roof rack. If you do not have a sunroof and you have a full-size roof rack like these are probably my favorite roof rack you can get on any vehicle. I really give them credit for designing a good one. We have put 2 kayaks up here, and in the hitch, we've had a bike rack with 2 bikes on it, and we've had a day at the park before with just constant adventure going on, and it was really, really good. And with the purchase prices of these WJs coming down, the ability to do everything, and that was their tagline when they were selling these, by the way, was go anywhere, do anything, and they really mean that, because there is no limit to what you can do with this Jeep. Oh, you want to go snowboarding? Put it up there. You want to go biking? Put a bike rack in the back. You wanna go kayaking, put it on the roof. You wanna go off-roading, do it. You wanna pull a camper, get a camper and pull it. There's nothing this car can't do except get good gas mileage and, you know, stay fixed. Everything else it can do. So if you are a DIY who is willing to put in the effort on your own repairs, change your own alternator, power steering, tie rods, fluid changes, if you're gonna be that kind of person, this is gonna be perfect for you because all the maintenance and the easy work is easy to do. You know, hard things like engine and transmission replacement, these are reliable. You're not gonna have any of those, so you're not gonna need that much in that regard. But this can go everywhere, it can do everything. There's nothing this vehicle can't do, you know, except win races and stay fixed. That's my final thoughts on it. The history of it, is it better than the old square Cherokees? No. Is it more comfortable to own? Yes. Is it, you know, it's cheaper to get into as well. A 92 Cherokee is more expensive than these now because the squares, for some reason, square anything, square body Chevy, square body Ford, whatever, they're all like surging in value right now, whereas these just aren't. And I really think these are underappreciated as much as they do have problems. The heater core is bad in this, you can bypass it. You know, it's gonna have constant electrical issues with the connectors not wanting to work. But is it reliable? Would I buy it? Yes, and yes. I would say those things. So that's all I've got today for the Jeep Grand Cherokee. I don't really have anything more to add. It's a great vehicle. And hopefully we didn't peeve off the Mopar people too much. Not that we care. We'll see y'all next time.